Kim Zolciak gets police involved as divorce with Kroy heats up. Kim Zolciak and her divorce from Kroy Bierman have really started to heat up recently. After it looked like Kroy was giving their marriage a second chance, he served the former Real Housewives of Atlanta star with divorce papers over the weekend. He then pulled a stunt that caused Kim to get the police involved in the case. Here is why Kim called the police, and what is next for her and Kroy. Kim Zolciak calls police on Kroy Bierman. Kroy Bierman filed for divorce from Kim Zolciak once again, and then he did something that caused his estranged wife to call the police. While they have been battling all year, and this is the second divorce notice, they have kept living together in the same house. Kroy decided to put that to the test, and he locked the former Real Housewives of Atlanta star out of the house and left a soul pillow outside the door for her. Police documents, via Radar Online, said that Kim Zolciak called the police to report a domestic disturbance. She said no one was in danger but that Kroy had threatened her. She also said she called a locksmith to come and drill into the door to get her into the house. Officers showed up and eventually left the scene around 1 a.m. according to the police. The couple's children were all asleep when the incident occurred. It appears that the couple spoke to the police about their relationship and their constant attempts to one-up each other. The former Real Housewives of Atlanta star claimed that Kroy might have CTE, causing him brain damage from his NFL playing days. Kroy continues to allege that Kim has a gambling addiction that is driving them further and further into debt and already wiped out their life savings. Kim's own daughter Brielle has even given evidence of her mother's gambling problems. Kroy Bierman serves Kim Zolciak with divorce papers. Kroy Bierman and Kim Zolciak have been headed for divorce for most of the year. However, Kroy did an about-face in July and decided to fight for his marriage. There was one problem with the situation. They are still in severe financial problems and they blame each other. For Kroy, it is Kim's reported gambling addiction that caused him to finally throw in the towel. The drama between Kim Zolciak and Kroy Bierman had reached a boiling point, and the tension was palpable. What began as whispers of discord had escalated into public accusations, financial woes, and now police involvement. Their once idyllic life, a sprawling Georgia mansion, a bustling household filled with laughter, and a reality TV romance, was unraveling before the world's eyes. It started with a frantic 911 call. Kim's voice, shaking yet firm, relayed her version of the chaos to the dispatcher. "He's refusing to leave," she said. "I asked him over and over, but he's blocking the door. I just want this to stop." On the other end, Kroy was texting his attorney, drafting a counter-narrative to what he considered baseless claims. It was a game of he said, she said, and neither party was backing down. When the police arrived at the Bierman estate, the scene was anything but calm. Kim stood on the porch, her arms crossed and her signature blonde hair tousled, a combination of frustration and exhaustion. Inside, Kroy sat on the couch, his expression stoic. Their 4 younger children were upstairs, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing below. The couple's older daughters, Brielle and Ariana, had chosen to stay away from the confrontation, avoiding the escalating conflict between their adoptive father and their fiercely protective mother. "We're here to keep the peace," the officer said, his tone measured. "Can you tell us what's going on?" Kim was quick to respond. "He's been trying to intimidate me," she said, gesturing toward Kroy. "I've asked him to leave the house so we can have some space, but he won't. He's creating a hostile environment for me and the kids." Kroy interjected, his voice calm but firm. "This is my house too. I'm not going anywhere. And for the record, I haven't done anything threatening. She's just trying to spin the narrative." The officers exchanged glances, knowing that this was a domestic dispute layered with complexities. They took statements from both parties, trying to untangle the web of accusations and counter-accusations. One officer gently suggested mediation, but both Kim and Kroy scoffed at the idea. The wounds were too fresh, the animosity too raw. Behind closed doors, the cracks in their marriage had been growing for years. Financial strain was a constant shadow over their relationship, with rumors of mounting debt and foreclosure threatening their luxurious lifestyle. Kim, ever the reality TV star, had tried to maintain an image of perfection on social media. But behind the filters and the designer handbags was a woman desperately clinging to a life that was slipping through her fingers. Kroy, on the other hand, had grown weary of the public persona. Once a professional football player with a promising career, he had traded the spotlight for a quieter life. Or so he thought. Being married to Kim meant living in a fishbowl, with every argument and misstep magnified for the world to see. Over time, the resentment festered, turning love into animosity. Their legal battle was shaping up to be as contentious as their personal one. Custody of their children was a major sticking point. Kim wanted sole custody, citing Kroy's alleged unstable behavior, while Kroy was equally adamant about his rights as a father. The financial aspect was no less messy, with both accusing the other of reckless spending. Kroy had claimed that Kim's addiction to online shopping and gambling had drained their accounts, while Kim fired back that Kroy's investments had been ill-advised and reckless. As the police wrapped up their visit, they left the couple with a warning. "If we're called out here again, there will be consequences." Kim nodded, her expression unreadable, while Kroy stared at the floor, lost in thought. The silence that followed their departure was deafening. The next morning, the tabloids were ablaze with headlines. "Kim Zolciak calls police on estranged husband," one read. Another speculated, "Bierman family drama escalates. What's next?" Both Kim and Kroy found themselves at the center of a media frenzy, their every move scrutinized by fans and critics alike. For Kim, the public attention was a double-edged sword. She had built her career on being an open book, inviting cameras into her home and sharing intimate details of her life. But now the spotlight felt harsh and unrelenting. She sought solace in her daughters, leaning on Brielle and Ariana for support. The trio was often seen out and about, presenting a united front despite the turmoil at home. Kroy, meanwhile, retreated into his role as a father. He focused on the children, trying to shield them from the chaos as best he could. He'd always been the steady one, the anchor in a sea of reality TV drama. But even anchors could be dragged under by the weight of conflict. Amid the chaos, both Kim and Kroy's legal teams were hard at work. Negotiations were tense, with neither side willing to budge on key issues. The divorce was shaping up to be a long and bitter battle, one that would test their limits and redefine their lives. As days turned into weeks, the once loud accusations began to give way to quieter moments of reflection. Kim sat on her porch one evening, watching the sun set over the Georgia horizon. She thought about the life they had built together, the good times that now felt like a distant memory. Despite everything, a part of her mourned the loss of what they had. Kroy, too, found himself reminiscing. Late at night, after the kids were asleep, he would look through old photos on his phone, family vacations, birthdays, moments of joy. It was a stark contrast to the reality they were living now. In the end, the road ahead was uncertain. Whether they could find a way to co-parent amicably or would remain locked in conflict was a question only time could answer. But one thing was clear. The chapter of their lives as husband and wife was coming to a dramatic close, and both Kim and Kroy would need to navigate the aftermath with resilience and grace.